Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with the Vayne supplementary guide, and today we're going to be talking about Ghost on Vayne. And this part, I'm really just going to be talking about Ghost on Vayne because this build is the same build that I covered in a supplementary guide like less than 2 weeks ago. So if you want the build explanation, hop over to that video. But basically, it's just Twin Guard Vayne. For the runes, I've actually changed something, so I'm going to talk about that real briefly. I put Hunter Vampirism in instead of Brutal. Now, my previous rationale of why Hunter Vampirism wasn't too useful is because you already have healing from 3 sources. So, probably Brutal for like that on-hit damage would be more useful. But you can never get too much healing, and Brutal is pretty ineffective against tanks. So, generally when you're playing Vayne, you're going to be playing into a very tanky team. So, I guess just more healing is probably going to be more effective. So we did choose to swap out Brutal for Hunter Vampirism, although I still think Brutal is good in certain matchups and certain situations. Okay, so why are we taking Ghost instead of Exhaust? Now, I covered very extensively in my Ghost Zeri video that Exhaust is absolutely essential for all ADCs. So why is it that now I'm not taking Exhaust on Vayne and I'm instead taking Ghost? Well, to answer this question, we're first going to have to talk about why Exhaust is essential to ADCs. Because we're in an Exhaust ADC meta, if you don't have Exhaust, you will never win the other ADC. So basically, very common situation is there is a 1v1 between 2 ADCs in lane. This is normally when both teams are fighting for Herald. So normally your support and their support rotates to Herald. Everyone else is at Herald and you're 1v1 against the other ADC. So this situation happens often, and normally the person that wins this 1v1 fight, although sometimes there's no fight to begin with, sometimes both people are just farming, but if there were a fight, the person who wins this fight is the person who has Exhaust and has Exhaust up. So there are certain situations where, let's say in the dragon fight, they popped their Exhaust onto your assassin, let's say, and you didn't have to use your Exhaust. You're the one who's likely going to win the fight because you have the Exhaust to exhaust them and they don't have it to exhaust you. Now, of course, the opposite situation could also happen, and of course, a third situation is both people have Exhaust. So you guys trade Exhaust, no one kills anybody, or you all both die, something like that. But basically, the long and short of it is that you need Exhaust because if you don't have Exhaust, you're always gonna lose to the other ADC. So, this leads to the next question, which is why doesn't Vayne need Exhaust? Well, Vayne's main source of damage is from proccing her triple attack passive thingy on her W. It basically is the thing where you have 2 rings under your opponents, you attack them for a 3rd time, and those rings explode to deal damage to your opponents. So she gets most of her DPS from silver bolts. Like if you notice in the build, you're barely building any AD. Like here you get 20 AD, no AD, no AD, no AD, no AD, and you only get a little bit of AD at the end from Bloodthirster. So basically all of Vayne's damage comes from the silver bolts, and the silver bolts do true damage. So this means that even when you are exhausted, you're still gonna deal the same amount of damage to them. That is on the silver bolt. So for your 3 auto attacks that you hit onto them, they are gonna do reduced damage. But for the silver bolts proc, because it's true damage, it's still gonna do maximum damage. So this basically solves the problem of forcing yourself to take Exhaust. So then this leads to the other thing, which is why is Ghost so helpful? Well, Vayne has very short range. Vayne is all about kiting in and out of fights and all about mobility, which is why her whole kit kind of revolves around the tumble. So with Ghost, you have 2 advantages. The first one is you can use it instead of your flash. So sometimes in lane where you want to chase someone down or when someone's chasing you, instead of using flash, you can use Ghost instead. You'll see this later on in the gameplay. And sometimes you end up trading Ghost for flash. So they have to flash away from you, whereas you only Ghost towards them. You still have your flash up and available, which of course is a much longer cooldown than Ghost. And secondly, the Ghost just helps you in general to just chase people down or just run away. Like not even in relation to flash. Ghost on Vayne is just really useful because she has really low range and she wants to run people down. So the Ghost in combination with your passive is going to allow you to run people down. So it's really just that simple. So now with all that explanation of taking Ghost instead of Exhaust out of the way, now we can move on to talking about the gameplay itself. Okay, so as mentioned, we're moving on to the gameplay now. Of course, needless to say, we have Ghost and we have Flash without having any Exhaust. And we're gonna start out with the controller. So I'm gonna jump straight into the action, not too much explanation here about picking Vayne. Basically, I saw Mundo, I'm picking Vayne. So that's pretty much it. So here, I'm gonna show you guys a common occurrence. So here, you have warded the bush, you're sitting in the bush, your support is late to lane, they put down the ward. So here I'm trying to clear the ward, but they try to get into the bush. Your support is not here, so you don't want to contest too hard. Here I find an opportunity where Draven has backed off, so I'm clearing the ward. But number one mistake is don't overcommit to defending your ward, because if you die over that control rod, that's completely not worth one bit. Second thing is, you see here Rakan's clearing that control ward. Again, I'm not contesting, because number one, we've already removed their ward. Number two, even if we didn't, again, it's not worth to die over that control ward, which I see a very common mistake happening. Like I've seen supports go for the ward, like melee supports go for the ward, and while they're getting their 3 attacks on the ward, I'm getting like 4 or 5 attacks in onto them, and they end up dying clearing the ward, which makes no sense whatsoever. So here, we are Vayne Soraka. We're playing against a Draven Rakan. Now, Draven Rakan is obviously a very strong kill lane. You get hit by Rakan's knockup, Draven gets in like 2 free autos, and 1 Draven auto hurts like hell, especially because you're Vayne and you cannot really trade back. Good news here is that we have Soraka. So ideally what we want to do here is both of us avoid taking damage, completely. But if someone were to take damage, it's a lot better for Vayne to take damage than for Soraka to take damage, because Soraka can heal me by a lot, but she can't heal herself that much. Like when she hits her Q, she is gonna heal herself a little, but she's not gonna heal herself a whole lot. So here you guys can see, I go in with the Ghost because Draven's low, and I force Draven's Flash and Rakan's Ignite out of panic. So I don't really even think I could have killed the Draven there, but I was just trying to put pressure on him, and just by ghosting, I've managed to force Draven to Flash, I managed to force Rakan to Ignite preemptively to cut Soraka's healing. So 2 spells already just gone just like that. Now we know Draven doesn't have Flash, so we're just playing a little bit aggressively, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, and now we're gonna back. So here, we are in a weak lane versus the enemy laner, so we do have to concede that they're gonna take a couple of tower plates here. Now honestly, the alternative to this is we both could have stayed under tower to defend it, but Soraka is very keen to back, and I can't stay under tower alone to defend it. So one of the key things here is you gotta see what your teammates are doing. Like if Soraka backs, I have to back. I cannot defend myself under tower, because if Rakan goes in and tanks the tower, he and Draven might be able to kill me, and that of course again is not worth like defending a tower or slash taking a minion away for your life. So since Soraka wants to back, I'm backing too, and we'll concede 2 plates. No problem. Conceding 2 plates is way better than conceding a kill and a cash into a Draven, so I'm completely fine with that. Of course, ideally we both would stay to defend the tower, but hey, this is alright as well. So here, again, what we're doing is pretty simple. As a Vayne, all you want to do is to farm, get to the mid/late game, and that's exactly what we're doing. So here we're taking advantage of the fact Rakan is a little bit late to lane, and we're getting this wave pretty much for free because Draven can't really pressure us too badly alone in a 2v1. So now Rakan is of course back in the lane, so now is where we have to watch out. We have to watch out for the Rakan engage in particular. There is the said Rakan engage. He goes all in on Soraka and basically kills Soraka pretty much by himself with his full combo and electrocute. Now here, I was a bit laggy in this particular match, so I kind of lagged there for a second. Thankfully nothing too much happened. Here my team has come in for the gank, and here I'm ulting. Actually, I'm not ulting, I'm just chasing the Draven down, and I do get the kill. Now I'm ulting to try to kill the Yasuo. Tryndamere has the ulti, so he's able to tank the tower and survive. Soraka also came in with that ulti to ensure everybody lived and everybody was healthy. I didn't really take any damage there. I just pretty much picked up a free kill, as well as helped the Tryndamere to pick up the 2nd kill onto the enemy Yasuo. So that was pretty nice, all went pretty good, and we're already getting ourselves ahead. Important thing to note here is how Draven didn't get the kill, and it was Rakan who got the kill. So Draven is not too strong. So here I kind of get caught, so I just flash out. No reason to hold the flash, especially because Draven's flash we know is back up. Here Draven comes in with the interrupt. Like, look at how much damage one Draven auto does. Like, he has that Storm Razor. One auto kind of really hurts. So yeah, so here we're gonna back, and we're gonna pick up the Bork, of course, and then we're gonna head over to the dragon, which is of course spawning momentarily. Now here, Kassadin and Tryndamere are kind of trying to collapse in on the Draven lane, which is kind of overextended at the moment, but nothing too much happens there because they're kind of gonna back off. Now here we are all rotating to the dragon. Rakan goes in and gets a double knockout. I was expecting to get knocked up there, but fortunately I did. Now here we're on the chase for Rakan, but his Q manages to keep him alive, and the Draven damage manages to come through, and I take like about half of HP's worth of damage. Thankfully we have Soraka who's healing us, and here Yasuo tries to go in. Now here I get the very nice condemn onto the wall, pop the ulti, and here Draven is out of position, so I'm just gonna chase him down. As you guys can see here, let's see notice how the exhaust doesn't do anything because my damage came from my pop there from the true damage, so Draven still died. Doesn't matter that he exhausted me. Here Yasuo gets silenced, beautiful silenced by the Soraka. Here I thought that I would kill the Mundo with this pop, but he was a little bit more tanky than I expected. So here Tryndamere and Kassadin are two-manning the dragon, while me and Aatrox are kind of just zoning the entire rest of the enemy team away, more or less. Now here I wanted to go help, but I realized that the dragon's already taken. And here, me and Aatrox are desperately trying to kill people. I don't choose to commit under tower, but Aatrox does pick up the double, and he's now deep in enemy territory, so instead I'm just going to go for the plates, because there isn't really anything I can do to help him anyways. So here, me and Tryndamere are just going for the plates, and in fact we're trying to actually get first tower before the Draven does, but here unfortunately Yasuo comes in, and he kind of just stops us from doing that. So Draven likely can secure first tower, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you know, hey, not too much we can do about that. So Draven also doesn't manage to secure first tower, surprisingly, and he's waiting for the next wave, and so are we. Once again, the Fizz and the Rakan are now the ones putting a stop to us, so Draven is indeed going to pick up the first tower, whereas the rest of us are going to back away from the mid lane tower. Kassadin goes in onto Dr. Mundo just for a little bit of chip damage, but nothing too much else happens here. Here we're starting with Herald. I'm putting them the control ward because we saw them put a ward in, so this will prevent them from seeing anything. Here I get hit by the Fizz out like pretty much at max range. Even so, I just jumped right in because I'm pretty used to playing with Soraka. One of my friends does play Soraka quite a lot, so I do play Soraka with Vayne quite a bit, and assuming this Soraka does what she's supposed to, which is heal me, I know that I'll be fine with the heal. So here, Fizz tries to go in for the sneaky assassination. I was not shopping, and here I actually almost kill him. Didn't have the mana for the tumble, but if I did, he would have been dead there, which is pretty unfortunate, I guess, I should say. But yeah, so here Draven is back, and we don't have any sums, we don't have any mana for tumbles, so we're just gonna walk off. Nah, I'm not gonna risk anything here, we're just gonna back straight off of that. And yeah, so sometimes when you play with Soraka, you can play a little bit more recklessly, because the Soraka can heal you by a ton. Like, she still had ult, she still had heal, and she also had her W, so she would have been able to burst heal me pretty much back to full health if she really wanted to. So yeah, so here we see a Fiesta kind of breaking out at the top lane. Aatrox gets killed 4v1, and here we're rotating over. Tryndamere is now under fire, but the enemy team appears to be backing off, so it looks like nothing too much is going to happen here eventually. Popping the plan to see what's happening here. The enemy team is all retreated over to their tower, and nothing too much is happening. And Draven somehow ends up basically split pushing the whole time. Like, just now he took the bot tower when no one was there. Now he's going for the mid tower, so we're going to send over some cavalry to stop him from doing what he wants, and the rest of us are going to remain in top lane. Like, we don't want to all go down, so I'm going to remain in top lane to like clear out the wave. Soraka's kind of staying with me, so we're fine here. The Rakan goes in onto Soraka again, pops the electrocute, pops the ulti, and here I'm trying to save Soraka. I stun Rakan into the wall, and unfortunately Rakan still has his E flash, so he manages to E back to Mundo and flash away. Now obviously we can't really kill Mundo like in a quick fashion, at least not yet. So instead here we're going to see what we can do. Kassadin is kind of behind the tower, and here we're trying to go for anybody we can really, but here again we're kind of 1v1 against Draven, and that's not really going to work out because, you know, we can't really kill Draven 1v1. So Aatrox manages to dive and kill the Mundo. And here we're going to pick up this tower, and the Draven makes a major mistake by not running away more quickly. He's forced to flash here. He tries to turn back around because Fizz has gone in behind. But in reality, that's not the best decision. Here we can try to pick up the rest of their team. I ran out of mana again, but we do manage to pick up the kill onto Rakan as well as Draven. And then we're going to try to focus Yasuo, kiting away from him as best we can. We do manage to actually kill Yasuo before Fizz finally manages to finish us off, but overall, I would say that that fight turned out pretty well, especially considering I didn't have any more mana. So, manaless Vayne without Tumble, really easy target to pick off, and I was actually able to still take down 3 people before I died. So I think that that was, you know, pretty good, all things considered. So here we have our first 2 items being the Wit's End as well as the Bork, and we also have completed our Hourglass. So we are in a pretty good spot. We have the safety of the Zanyas if Fizz ults us again, and we also have the first 2 items, first 2 damage items, and we can now start building towards Twin Guard, which, you know, we're doing more than enough damage already. So just building some defensive items is gonna help us tremendously.
Enemy turret destroyed.
And here I'm kind of just hovering around if they commit full on, which they kind of do, but I end up finding myself alone. So here I'm gonna just flash the wall. I'm even gonna ghost to like run away. Soraka here is healing me, and yeah, so here just trying to defend the mid lane tower. Again, Soraka is here to heal me, so I'm not gonna be too scared of Draven. Like, look at this Soraka healing. Like, Soraka can heal, you know, a ton. Like, that's her entire job basically. So here, Draven kind of gets baited and ends up just dying right here. I pop the LT. Fizz is actually right there. I'm not scared of him. Even if he ults me there, you know, I still have my stasis. I have my team. I'm not scared at all. And here the next dragon is up, so we do want to, of course, try to do the next dragon. Here Tryndamere is coming over, and here I'm just starting up the next dragon. And the whole enemy team is kind of just here as well. My team kind of splits where Aatrox and Soraka goes to mid and pushes mid instead. But here, Yasuo goes in like way too early in my opinion. I condemn him against the wall. He has no chance. He gets condemned and he gets you know, silenced by Soraka, and he can't really do anything at that point. He just dies, and we secure the dragon. At the same time, Rift Herald is also coming up, so my team is also going to rotate over to get Rift Herald. Now, it looks like my team is like winning really badly, which we kind of are. Tryndamere is 5-1-4. Aatrox is 7-3-7, I'm 6-1-7, Soraka 0-1-13, and Kassadin is just even. But somehow we're only 3k gold ahead. I'm not quite sure how. I guess it's because our team is grouped up very often, whereas the enemy team is often split up. So the enemy team is getting a lot more gold from their waves, whereas our team is like sharing gold from like waves because we're all, like, grouped up very, very often. So that's one of the reasons why like we're not as ahead as you would expect. But anyways, here we pick up the chain vest, and of course we're gonna build towards Twin Guard. And here just hitting bot to catch some waves because our team, as I said, has always been grouping up, and we kind of need to split apart so that we can actually try to secure more farm for our team and prevent the enemy team from trying to win via split push. And it's Draven mainly split pushing of all people, which makes no sense in the first place. But yeah, so here we're going to take the Krugs, and we did ping onto the red buff for the Tryndamere to take it so that we can get the shared red buff, which we are going to be able to do right here. Soraka gets caught and a huge fight ensues. Here I was thinking of blast planting over, but I didn't think that was a very good position, so I'm going to walk the long way around. Pop the ghost, pop the ult, and here I'm going to focus the Yasuo. Managed to basically just kill him with 2 rotations of the silver bolts, and he goes down. Rest of my team, namely Aatrox, has like killed basically everyone else. So only Mundo is left alive. Here I was thinking it was a good idea to do Baron, but my team seemed to be more interested in pushing towers. Now in my opinion, Baron is probably a better decision here, but since no one wants to commit to it, the best decision is the team decision, which is the mid lane push. So we're going to be able to secure the mid lane inhibitor off of that. And enemy team respawns are coming through, so it's high time that we back off, getting a free combo in onto Mundo, but at the end of the day, not going to be able to do too much to him. So here there's the enemy red buff, which Tryndamere is of course just going to pick right up. So interesting thing here that I didn't know about the buff is that even though I was closer to the center, because I already had a red buff, it automatically connected to Aatrox, which I'm completely fine with. I think that that's a really good mechanic so that we don't have people like taking buffs when they already have it. So here a huge fight comes up. I wait until the last moment to bait Fizz in before I press my stasis, which completely works, and he gets killed by Aatrox because of that. I was actually thinking Aatrox might be able to get a penta here, but unfortunately he ends up getting CC'd instead by the Yasuo, and Tryndamere ends up taking a kill, so I basically just take the other kill as well. So here it ends up being 2 double kills and 1 single kill, and off of that, because we already have the mid wave, we're just going to end the game right at 14 minutes. Really quick game, really dominant game, and you can also see how Ghost Vayne works on multiple occasions where we pop Ghost to run, pop Ghost to chase, and you know, pop Ghost and exchange it for the Draven's Flash, etc. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.